Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast Songs That Tell the Story by Levoy and Cleon Dewey, and I'm your host, Cindy Dewey Larson. Happy to be their daughter, and there is over 100 songs, hundreds of songs that they have written, and we just invite you to pick up your coffee and pull up a chair. Enjoy these programs where we just dive into a song and we hear all the backstory. We hear the things that all the years later, if the song was written 50 years ago or 10 years ago, we get to hear the story and hear from the authors themselves. So we're going to just jump right into today because this song is amazing. It's one of Dad's favorite songs. It's one of my favorite songs. And it has a lot of memories attached to this song, and it's really a worldwide story. So I want to go ahead and jump into that. Stay till the very end. We're going to pray for you, and we want you to engage with us on the website and our Facebook. We want to pray for you. We want to know what's happening in your life, but we hope that you're enjoying these podcasts. All of the archive programs are going to be on the website. We release one a week, and you can go back and find your favorite song and watch it over and over again and share it with your friends and family. But today we're talking about I Owe It All to Jesus, and I just want to introduce Mom and Dad to me and Levoy and Cleon to you.
Howdy, howdy.
Your names are kind of bizarre. Let's just say that.
My grandmother found it in a newspaper, and my dad's middle name was Levoy, and I got stuck with it.
Levoy Lee. And, a lot of people go by their middle name,
Yeah.
but Lee would have been fine.
Some of my cousins just call me
Lee. And then your last name, Dewey, is a lot of people have that as a first name. So you're a very confusing person. But if anybody ever gets in their brain correctly, Levoy Dewey, Cleon Dewey, Levoy and Cleon Dewey, it's hard to say one without the other because you guys are one. You're one person.
We decided
after 62 years.
Yeah, I think you're one.
After trying to explain our names all of our life, we decided that we were going to name y'all Cindy and Susie.
Very easy to understand. That's right. I remember we were traveling back in the time when Sandy Patty was the most well-known female artist, and lady came up to our record table, and she was about to deliver a baby girl, and she said, "Guess what I'm going to name my baby? It's Cindy Susie." And we're like, "Please don't do that." She thought she would take a page from the Sandy Patty and name it Cindy Susie or Susie Cindy, and we're like, "Please do not do that." As far as I know, she took our advice. I certainly hope so. Here's to the if there's a Cindy Susie out there, I apologize for that because, we advised against it. But talk about the song I Owe It All to Jesus.
Well, we early on in our ministry, 1967, we were doing a recording with the Couriers, and the Goss Brothers were backing us on our first albums, which is, you can't get better than that. I asked Dave Cologne, and I said, give me some advice. He said, pay your tithe from the meetings. I said, okay. He said, and then tithe your time on the mission field. And he said, if you spend 300 days a year on the road, which we did, he said, you need to give away a tenth of your time, 30 days.
Let me just say, we spent 300 days a year on the road. That is a lot. So as a child, we didn't.
He says that he just goes so fast over that 300.
Like, wait, what? Just pull over and say that again. Lean in and listen. We were on the road 300 days a year.
Yep. And holidays.
Yeah. We were home. Basically, how that worked out is we were home the last Monday through Friday of the month. And that's if we were lucky, because Jan Offenbaugh was our secretary, and she booked us, and she would absolutely book Sunday 2 places. Monday, sometimes we got off, and then because Sunday was such a big day, so we would take off Monday.
Well, Mondays were youth rallies.
Well, sometimes they were youth rallies.
Yeah, and then churches would move Wednesday to Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
Then we'd have Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then we'd have a Thursday because they moved Wednesday to Thursday. If we had a day off, it'd probably be a Friday.
I'm tired.
I'm
Oh,
tired of
think
that.
about- anyway,
Fridays was a lot of concert nights, and then we
Yeah.
were off Saturdays setting
Sometimes.
up for Sunday. Anyway, we worked a lot, and
I said, Jan, don't book us more than 10 services in a row without a break. I said,
So
we
Cindy
can't
was
have.
going, Sunday, Monday. We got
But that's why we played so many instruments, is because it would rest our voices.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then we took them overseas, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second here on this song, because we were, Robert Gorey sang with us. We were going to go down to South Houston Assemblies of God Church for a revival over the New Year's weekend, and Jimmy couldn't go with us. Jimmy Doan was Jimmy Doan and John Hall and I had this little trio called Ambassador Travelers. And Jimmy couldn't go, so we decided that we'd ask Robert to go along and James Clark to play the piano. And we had an awesome time. We went for the weekend, stayed 3 weeks. In fact, we tell about this particular meeting in our book entitled Haystacks and Barbed Wire
right
Fences.
there in front of you.
Yeah, it's just happened to have a shameless remark here, shameless plug. But the miracles that took place in that meeting was amazing. The wonderful Jackson family, their son was healed he had an enlarged head, and God healed that baby in that meeting. But Robert went on to be pastors, and he invited us out to the different churches he pastored. One of them was Fremont, California, where we were ministering out there, and he asked us to go to Brazil with him because they were going to go down and mother a new church. Now, in Brazil, they have mother churches. Like they'll have a city, then they have a mother church, and it'll spawn off of the churches. And Fortaleza, Brazil, had 2 mother churches, and they wanted to start a third one for the more business class. And Robert asked us if we could go down and sing. So in our scheduling, I'm thinking, well, we can go to Panama first, because that's where we did a lot of work in Panama. And that's where we met Mark, by the way, your wonderful husband, who you've married for many, many years now, and his wonderful family, the Larsons. Dick and Jan are just precious friends of ours. But anyway, we'd be in Panama, then we're going to go on to Brazil. Well, in the scheduling, somehow the travel agent, somebody dropped the ball that we needed to have a visa to go into Brazil. Now, we'd been in different countries and didn't have to have visas. We just take our passports. But anyway, we got to Rio de Janeiro, and all of a sudden they said, "Where's your visas?" And I said, "Visas? Well, you're on the next plane out of here, anywhere." Well, the planes were going to Lisbon, Portugal. They were going to Madrid, different places. And I said, "Well, we can't go there. We just came from Lisbon, Portugal, but I didn't want to go back there because then we'd have to buy our way back." And so Cleon was very wise. She took the girls. I was trying to deal with the equipment, our records, our tapes, and our musical instruments and our clothing and everything. And Cleon was very wise in taking you girls to a restroom there to hide you out till we got the right call to go back to the States somewhere.
Oh, you want me to tell
Yeah, I want to tell about that.
How long have I got? We were in there quite a while. We had guards around us.
Yeah.
And the female guard was she was about 3 feet away from me. And I whispered to the girls, I said, "Follow me into the ladies' room, and the guard will be right behind us, and go in a stall, and you're going to stay there until we hear the last call for Lisbon, Portugal," because that was the next flight. They were trying to get us.
And we did not want to go on the Lisbon,
That's
Portugal
the one
flight.
we did
Not that time.
No, we wanted to go to Miami, and it was next. So we waited a few minutes until after the last, what they say, the last call.
Yeah.
We waited a few minutes, and then we gathered our handbags and things and tote bags. And the guard looked at me as I walked by, and I smiled at her, and she smiled a big old smile at me.
She knew what was happening.
She said, "Lady, you handled that just right."
So I'd managed to get our instruments on the next flight to Miami, and we don't know where the records went, and all the tapes and everything that we took down there, they disappeared in the shuffle. But on the way back to Miami, the flight back, we flew all night long and got back home. And I'm thinking, now what am I going to do? Because I always took our saxophones and the clarinets overseas, because if the power went out, we could grab our horns and blow it on our, till the, but not in Brazil. They had better electricity down there. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I felt like the Lord speak to me and said, don't take your instruments back. You send them home, and you can borrow instruments, or you can get instruments down there, because Brazil is a very modern place. We're going to be in Fortaleza, Brazil, up north in the country Brazil. And so we got to Miami, and I shipped the instruments, our saxophones and clarinets and stuff, back to the States, back to the office where Jan was. And so we got back and we got the visas and everything, got back to Portugal, and got up to Fortaleza, and I tried to borrow some instruments. Nobody had anything to borrow. So I thought, I just said, well, I guess I'm going to have to go buy some saxophones. So I went to a music store and I bought 3 saxophones, 3 alto saxophones, one for each of us to play, 3 of us. And they were $1,250 a piece. I'm thinking, that's going to push my credit card pretty far, And my American Express is going to expand. And, of course, I knew I'd have to take care of it when I got back home. So anyway, we used them in the services, and about the middle of the way through, the Lord spoke to me to leave the horns there, just to leave the saxophones there and give them to the mother churches. The church we were starting, and then the other 2 churches. And I found out that there was a great conflict between the 2 mother churches that had already existed. I guess the pastors hadn't spoken to each other, and people were mad at each other, and it was just crazy. But these services, there was no place for people to sit; they had to stand.
Yeah.
And it was rained every night. I mean, it just come torrents of rain, and they had a little lean-to thing for us to kind of get under, and we used the Pope's PA set, the PA set that the Pope used in front of the law college there in Fortaleza, and the people just stood there. I mean, if it come a torrent of rain,
Well, it wasn't the Pope's sound system. It's one they had just used for the Pope.
Yeah. We call it the Pope's sound system. I don't think the Pope actually owned the sound system. But anyway.
If he wanted it, he did.
So about the middle of the meeting, and people were getting saved by the hundreds and the thousands. In fact, at the end of the meeting, there was over 12,500, and I don't know the exact number of people who had actually signed decision cards, giving their heart to Christ. But anyway, I said, we're gonna give these to the churches, but I want the pastor to be here, the lead pastor to be here. So they had never been on the platform together, maybe ever. So anyway, I think you presented to one pastor, Susie presented to the other pastor, and I presented to pastor. And Robert Gorey began to pray. He was the speaker each night. We furnished the music. And he began to pray a prayer of unification, that God would bring harmony in the churches and the pastors as the harmony had been come out of these horns. And the power of God broke the hearts. And I could tell in English, some of them could understand, but when the Portuguese was interpreted and this prayer went out, the people began to wail and weep. And these 3 pastors, all of them began to weep. And they weren't too excited about us starting another mother church, because they thought they had it under control. But like I say, we had over 12,000 people saved. And, the interesting thing about it is we heard about 20 years ago that out of that one crusade, we know that 8 churches started that next night.
Wow.
The next Sunday, 8 churches
Because
began.
they had to take those cards that everybody signed and divide them up, and they had to start shepherding these people. And,
Immediately. And 8 churches started immediately. And when we were down at a funeral down with Robert, came down to see us, and Helen, he said over 100 churches came out of that one crusade in Fortaleza, Brazil. I still communicate with some folks on Facebook. In fact, one of the interpreters who was down there is one of my friends on Facebook.
They had walls erected in the sanctuaries that would cut off where the men sat from where the...
That's Egypt.
Oh, that's Egypt. Never mind. That's another story. We're going to talk about Egypt and the walls in the churches, but I clearly did not look at my notes.
That's all right.
But anyway, no, we have so many stories. And recently, Mom and I, ironically enough, found notebooks from some of these overseas travels.
Yes.
And so we're in the process of transcribing all of that and going back and kind of reliving those details because, at the time you think you'll never forget it, and then over time you do. And so that's where...
Here's the thing. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But here's the thing that we want to have communicated today, and that's the fact that if we had been set as we should have been with the correct visas to get into Brazil, that would have been a smooth operation. We would not have had to fly back to Miami and send our
I would have sure hated to give away my Selmer.
Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't have heard God say that if it had its personal
I would have done
saxophone.
it, though. I would have done it.
We wanted to do what God wanted us to do. And we knew that God had called us to Brazil.
Yeah.
And so, hell or high water, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're going to do what we're supposed to do. But when we got back to Brazil and we found that all of this conflict was brewing between these pastors and the dissent between their congregations, Robert was told as well that it was the worst conflict they'd ever had. I think they thought the only thing to do is start another church. So if all things had gone smoothly, we would not have known that only God could do it.
Yeah.
That's what we owe to Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what we owe to him.
We need to sing the song. Let's go ahead and
Get with it.
sing this song. And we're going maybe a little longer today on this program, but we want to get our message through that sometimes we don't know until... We may not know till we're all in heaven exactly how the pieces fit together. That's why we walk by faith, and that's what we do
That's
every
why
day.
this song was written.
Yeah.
I owe it all to Jesus. I owe it all to Jesus. If I am ever anything, all the praise to him I bring. I owe it all to Jesus. I owe it all to Jesus. This song of love from deep within, I owe it all to him.
If I've been used in some small way to help someone in need today,
this song of love from deep within. I owe it all to Him.
He touched my blinded heart and mind, and now His precious ways I find.
Where He leads me, I will go.
Where He leads me, I will go.
So many others still need to know.
So many others need to know. I owe it all to Jesus. I owe it all to Jesus. If I am ever anything, all the praise to Him I bring. Yes, Daddy. I owe it all to Jesus. I owe it all to Jesus. This song of love from deep within. Yes, say that. I owe it all. Oh, yeah. To Him. I owe it all. I owe it all to This is on our first class album. It's on every download you can get on YouTube. It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. All those folks. We hope you've enjoyed today's program,
Yes.
and haven't we enjoyed it?
Yes.
Yes, I've enjoyed.
Walking down memory lane with some of those stories. I'm so thankful. Dad, just close us out in a word of prayer, and we hope to hear from you in the at the end of the program or whenever you want to reach out to us.
Father, we're thankful for the little part that we've had in the kingdom of God through the years. We could take no glory for ourselves. We could take no pride in it, but we give glory to you. We owe everything to you. I pray as we minister and encourage those around us that you will also do the same. Let Jesus be glorified in all you do and say, because we owe it all to Jesus.
Thank you for watching Songs That Tell the Story. We hope that you log on and communicate with us and order some of these products. So order these songs, download things, however you listen to music. But we want you to know we love you very much, and we appreciate you being with us today. God bless you.